We had 4 mentees total, and I think we had 6 volunteers total, or maybe 7 volunteers in total on this trip. So a good group. Went to bed, got up at I think it was 5:30.
So when you say went to bed?
Yeah, don't mess with me.
When you say went to bed?
Yeah.
Where did you sleep that night?
In the cab of my truck. Just once you start doing it, especially with the hindquarters, unless you YouTube videos don't do it justice. It's you have to have a hands-on experience, which I told her, I was out of all the things we've tried, this has been the best demonstration for me to actually visualize it and see it, and the way you described everything. So and even in my mentor review or my survey that I put in, I was this is by far the best part of this trip.
Tejas.
That's still 2.
Tejas Hunt Club Podcast is the podcast for you and you and you and you. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Tejas Hunt Club Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon McDowell, and tonight, I am joined by, I guess it really doesn't matter when you're listening. It's tonight
say whenever you're listening.
Yeah. Whenever you're listening, but tonight when we're recording, I'm joined by
Meagan McDowell.
And we're going to do a little recap of our adult learn to hunt program, hunts that we went on with Texas Wildlife Association. The great Matt Hughes, Jim Wintrick, Witrinsic. I always get Jim's last name confused, but he'll forgive me. But we want to do a little recap of those hunts that we went on. They were great opportunities. We got to meet some really cool people and hang out, and of course, chase some animals in Texas, all across Texas in different spots too. So we're going to get into those hunts. We just dropped the videos, so if you want to check those out on YouTube. Megan's has been out for a while now because her hunt was back in October. And then we just dropped the Rock and G Ranch video and the Mount Lucas video. So go check those out on YouTube. Check out all of our other, I can't talk tonight.
No, you can't.
I just don't. They're
getting a full taste of it.
A full taste of it. So sorry, guys. Maybe I'll just
No, you won't.
Take a sip out of my.
So you're not going to edit it out.
Wonderful Yeti here from Silencer Shop. Shameless plug, full of Topo Chico. So get back into it. We're going to do a recap of those hunts that we went on and tell y'all a little bit more about them in addition to the videos that we produced on YouTube. But first, I want to give a big shout out to our buddy Chad Jones on shooting a massive.
Oof.
And when I say massive, I'm emphasizing the mass part on this deer because he's a thick boy.
Very. In
the body and in the horns. If you don't follow Chad Jones, go check out his Instagram and see this massive deer that he shot in North Texas a couple weeks ago. So congrats to him. Congrats to everybody that's been putting down some big deer this season. It's been fun to watch. Heavily emphasized on the watching part.
No FOMO whatsoever.
That's all we've been doing is watching.
Yeah.
Our deer season didn't turn out too great. We had deer show up and then deer were gone. And don't really have that many legal bucks to chase after.
Yeah.
There's one buck there that needs to go.
Yeah.
But he's not legal. So he just gets to hang out.
I've been looking up that MLD information to figure out what it would take to get the property listed under MLD because this one buck is very prolific. Would that be the right word to use? Because we have quite a few yearlings in there that you can just tell are the same genetics just based on how their horns are sorting out every year. It's not an injury. It's definitely genetics. Yeah. And he is spreading it like wildfire. And so we really want to get rid of him. But we'll be patient.
Homeboy ain't legal. So he just gets to run around as much as he wants to. But anyways, we're recording this right after Thanksgiving, so we hope everybody had a great time, getting full on food and spending time with family members you want to, and some maybe you didn't. But the food was worth it. So hope y'all enjoyed that. And then also did a little Black Friday shopping, bought some AR parts, some ammo, maybe some other things. We'll see. Tune in to the videos and you'll find out. But got some pretty good deals. I know it's Monday, so still Cyber Monday going on. There's some stuff that I found on the internet that was.
We'll have to go check it out after this.
Looking pretty good.
Yeah.
But most people now really don't participate in Black Friday. Not too many people that
person.
I know. Yeah.
I know a lot of people that I think since COVID, if you go to Walmart on Black Friday, it's not nearly as bad as it used to be. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
We haven't had a good, fight video come across the news in a while.
No, we haven't. And I think, yeah, you're right. It probably is because of COVID and people don't really go anymore. Kind of threw it off, I guess. But most of the stuff you can also find on the internet. Amazon. You don't have to fight the crowds in there to get all the good stuff like you used to.
Well, usually Cyber Monday and Small Business Saturday,
yeah,
you'll start getting some better deals than Friday. And since when does Black Friday a week and a half long?
Yeah.
A lot of these companies, they launch their Black Friday deals on Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
They're already running their Black Friday deals.
And then you still getting the emails all weekend. I guarantee
last chance.
If I go look
3 more hours, I'm getting
I have 114 unread emails right now.
I believe it.
In my Yahoo account, and I guarantee the majority of them is Cyber Monday. Stop now.
Yeah.
Go now. It's about to end.
I'm just obsessed with deleting. I can't stand a little red dot on my messages or my emails. So I've been deleting them at least 3 or 4 times a day.
I try to do it just one at once and be done with it. But we'll get to that later. So if you do have any other shopping deals that you got in, shoot us a DM. Let us know what it was. Maybe next year we'll get on it.
I definitely was overwhelmed.
Of course, I'm sure they'll be still running it for the next couple days just to get those
just
last stragglers.
Yeah, I was overwhelmed this year with parts for my AR and between scopes and there's AR bags that are just, I don't even have it built yet, and I want an AR bag from a certain company.
Savior.
From Savior. I got their range bag. If you guys haven't seen that, my birthday present from Brandon was their specialist range bag in OD green, and it is beautiful.
Yeah,
and very functional.
To drop a video about that on the YouTube channel.
Just check it out. Yeah.
Be looking out for that, guys. But coming up, we're pretty excited because I'm going to be going down to Edna, Texas this weekend for the Cat Daddy Hog Band put on by the guys over at the South Texas Shootout. They do a bunch of other predator hunting contests and hog hunting contests down in South Texas. So they're putting on a hog band this weekend. Going to go down, do a little video to bring it back to the folks at home. But if you're not busy this weekend and you're in the area, it is in Edna, Texas. I can get you the address. Hold on 1 second.
Might see our dogs in the pen. Maybe.
We'll see. It is 1195 County Road 401 in Edna, Texas. So Nathan Davis, Buck Whitley, they're putting this event on this weekend. Once again, it's the Cat Daddy's Hog Band competition. So we're going to be there. I'll be there this weekend filming, maybe even enter the dogs in that and hanging out. So if you don't have anything to do, come chill.
I enjoyed it.
Drink a cold beer.
The last one we went to was my first one.
Yeah.
It was nice.
In Nixon, El Perro Loco. Fun. Shout out to them over there. They put on a good event too.
Maybe Madison will be there.
Maybe. She might be. So, if you're not doing anything this weekend, come hang out, see some good dogs work, see some hogs get paid. I enjoy it. Yeah. It's a good time. But, I'm not like everybody else. But I know our listeners are similar folk. So make sure you put it on your calendar. I know they're going to be having more events coming up in the spring, or I guess we'll begin in 2025 with a predator contest and hog contest. So keep your ears peeled. I'll be letting you know about those too. And hey, man, if you want to get a team together, holla at me. I'm a pretty good shot, got some country to hunt. We can do something. So check those guys out. South Texas Shootout on Facebook. They'll be posting all the event information on there for the ones going forward. Speaking of getting into 2025, West Texas SCI has their event.
Oh, yes.
January 18th and 19th, 2025. Out in Midland, Texas, the hunting extravaganza will be there covering the event once again. So if you're out in West Texas.
Horseshoe Pavilion.
Yep, Horseshoe Pavilion on January 18th or 19th. Come by, say hi. There'll be a lot of guides, outfitters, hunting equipment, different things that you can come by and
they have some nice women's accessories there as well.
Yes, all the furs.
They do. They have some really cool ones. I still every year want to get one of those little neck wraps, the Axis hide neck wraps. Those are so beautiful.
Yeah, they are.
They've been on my list for a while.
Maybe we should go shoot an Axis and you can make.
I mean, we have an Axis.
No, we gotta keep this one. For the
we
podcast.
just don't use our hides for anything.
We gotta keep this one for the podcast.
We have plenty of hides.
It's all right. We'll keep adding to it. But yeah. If you're out in West Texas, or if you don't have anything to do that weekend, plan to be in West Texas at the Hunters Extravaganza, supporting West Texas SCI and their mission. Which
last couple years, it's been over $1 million.
Yeah, at the auction, it's been pretty cool to see and witness and everything. Yeah. So if you're out in the area, come by, say hi, walk around, buy some stuff, support West Texas SCI.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing our friends. It's always a good time.
All right, so Miss Meagan.
Yes.
You went on your first adult learn to hunt program, hunt of the season, back in October.
Yep.
So, what was that season. Like?
Hot. No, it was great. It was hot during the day. We got up in the 95, 96 range still, but outside of that, it was a really cool trip. And the reason I say that is because this is the first one I've done where it's off the grid for the most part. So tents, I ended up in the back of my truck, but that's another story. But we had, bring your tents, bring your entire setup for camping outside. They did have running water for the restrooms, thank goodness. But all of our cooking, our home base, everything was outside, which was pretty cool, I think. I haven't been able to try out a lot of our gear. So that was one of the unique things about this trip was making a packing list for that, trying out our new tents, trying out our bedroll. Brandon had used that on another trip before, but just like out in the elements. So it was really neat. But I mean, really, we're out at the Double Horn Ranch in Marble Falls. Dylan Brochon was the hunt master who led this one. It was his very first time leading a solo mentored hunt. So shout out to him. Dylan. Yeah, he did a really good job of getting everything set up and communication was great as always. And so we met up on Friday and drove out to the ranch. It was literally, I think it was maybe 2 miles from the Colorado River, and there was a little inlet or outlet or whatever you want to call it on the property. It was absolutely beautiful. So we were able to go out, get settled, get our tent set up, and then go out and enjoy the river for a little while. So that was really cool until a water moccasin decided to come and say hello. If y'all have never experienced a water moccasin, they are unnecessarily aggressive. Like it's crazy how aggressive these snakes are, and don't mess with them at all. But we did have a little bit of a wildlife encounter with the wrong type of wildlife at first, so that was a funny part of the story. But
it's crazy to me because like I've been around water moccasins that have been aggressive, and then I've seen water moccasins that'll just sit there and look at you.
This one was,
but like this one was like
it was on top of the water.
I remember you sending the picture. It was like the snake's coming at me right now,
curled up on top of the water, staring at us like we had offended it. And it was not fun trying to get out, because at that point I was starting to get a belly. So that was interesting for them to lift me out of the river. But anyway, long story short, had dinner that evening. Krista Parma was on that trip as well with TWA. She is an amazing chef. And then add in the fact that it was all outside with propane and no lights or anything like that. We had some battery charged lights and things, but she was amazing. She had a propane cooktop. She had a boiler and made some of the most amazing dishes, even in the elements that we've had on some of these trips. But every time I go, they get a little bit better. So she was making dinner for us. Got to meet everybody. This was a veterans hunt. And so every single mentee on the trip was a veteran. You having some issues there?
No, I was just making sure I could hear it. I knew it was recording, but
okay.
I think I hit the cord earlier and pulled it out.
Got it.
Back in.
Okay.
Sorry.
You're good. I was just waiting for you to stop messing with the mic. So anyway, so this was a veterans hunt. It is the first that they've had in a while. I think they've had one in the past. And this was just one that Dylan had brought in a lot of his friends that were veterans. So like I said, every mentee was a veteran. We had 4 mentees total. And I think we had, 6 volunteers total, or maybe 7 volunteers in total on this trip. So a good group. Went to bed, got up at I think it was 5:30.
So when you say went to bed.
Yeah. Don't mess with me.
When you say went to bed.
Yeah.
Where did you sleep that night?
In the cab of my truck. Not in my tent.
And why did you not sleep in the tent?
So, if you go to YouTube and look at the video, I had this nice little time lapse of my tent set up with my bedroll and my fan and my cooler, and everything was all hunky dory. I had a spider problem in my tent because we were set up underneath oak trees and it was just bug heaven, right? And I was not going to even risk like having one spider just caught up in the bedroll and like rolling up in there and having nowhere to go. And it just was very endless opportunities for failure in that situation. So slept in the cab of my truck the first night, which is not very comfortable, especially when you're 5 months pregnant. So that was fun. But
did you at least sleep on the passenger side so you didn't have the steering wheel? Oh my gosh.
My truck was full of stuff. Like I had a lot of stuff in there. The cameras. Everything was in there.
I'd put the cameras in the back.
It's just...
Yeah, you gotta sleep on the passenger side so you don't have the steering wheel right there.
I guess, yeah, that's true. I don't know. I didn't think that much.
Knowledge.
But I guess I had my moonroof, so I was able to enjoy the stars.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Got up like 5:30 the next morning and headed out to the blind with Adrian, who was my mentee for the weekend. And we saw everything but what was on his shooting list. Basically, we had a good setup. I picked the blind out. We were able to pull my truck up within like 60, 70 yards around the corner, walk into the back of the blind, and it's facing the feeder from on the opposite direction. So it was a great setup for me for filming, and then also for him to be able to see everything clearly and not have any obstructions or anything. And we saw 3 very, very nice bucks that came in and just basically taunted him the entire morning. And for me, I was trying not to let him know that, like he thought, oh, those are nice. I'm like, that was really, like, I wasn't trying to be like obnoxious about it, but like
that he can't shoot.
I'm like zooming in on my camera, like trying to get as much footage as possible of these bucks because I mean there were some really nice bucks. Anyway, so we sat and watched them all around the feeder. We heard some turkeys. We didn't see any turkeys, but we heard some turkeys, so we were able to talk about that. And that was pretty much all that we ended up seeing were just those 3 bucks that morning. But it was really nice to just like, my favorite part, we always mention this, is just being outside as the world is waking up. You know, you're out there at like 5:30 in the morning and it's completely dark and there's no birds singing. And then slowly things start getting a little bit lighter and you start hearing the birds wake up. And I just think that's one of the coolest parts of any time we go hunting. So we both enjoy their company and talking about that and talking about, you know, if a hog comes in, how their behavior is different than the deer. And, you know, it's just a really neat experience, especially for me, because every now and then I forget like the knowledge that I have. And it's just a reminder of, you know, I have been out here a few times. I do know a thing or two about this. So anyway, so the first morning
was this your hunter? Was this the first time they've been hunting or they had?
No, he had been hunting before, but he'd never been able to kill anything yet.
Gotcha.
So that was interesting, but just, I don't think he'd ever heard a turkey before.
Yeah.
Or I think we had it wasn't a bald eagle, but there was definitely an eagle of some sort, a bird of prey.
Yeah.
And so we were just like talking about that and like just certain things that I'm a nerd for when it comes to just like, Brandon knows every time I go somewhere, I'm like, oh, the plants, what's that? Like just completely nerding out about plants and animals and things like that. So that's always a good part of sitting in the blind when there's nothing to shoot. It's having something to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, I got back to camp and thankfully there were 2 other hunters who did have a successful morning. And so we were able to help them field dress their deer. And then Chris Abigail is a wild game butcher who actually hosted a demonstration at the hunt. And so she was out there helping them skin their deer. Dylan was also helping as well. The mentors usually are hands-on with the mentees when it comes to the entire process, which includes cleaning, skinning, gutting, and quartering the animals. And the next step was basically Chris Abigail took a hog they had harvested the day before and completely broke it down. And I mean, completely, like all the way down to the different cuts of meat within each quarter, and talking about how you would prepare them, what you would do with them. It was like a 2-hour or hour and a half demonstration of how to break things down. I learned an immense amount. Like I told her, I was like, Brandon and I both, there was one year that we had 4 animals.
Oh my gosh. Never again.
There was one year that we had 4, I think it was like
4 deer.
2
2
does,
bucks and 2 dogs.
Yeah, we had 4 deer. We're like, we can do this at the house. You know, we had just got that grinder from your mom, I think. We're like, we had all the confidence in the world.
Had everything in the world. We had knives. We had all the stuff.
Yep.
We're like, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And
it was just like, once you start doing it, especially with the hindquarters, unless you, like, YouTube videos don't do it justice. It's like you have to have a hands-on experience, which I told her, I was like, out of all the things we've tried, this has been the best demonstration for me to like actually visualize it and see it, and the way you described everything. So and even in my like mentor review, or like my survey that I put in, I was like, this is by far the best part of this trip, was seeing her. Yeah. Which I think we should have it on every single trip, is basically talking about every single thing you can do. Cause we had a lot of taco meat and stew meat with the animals that we broke down, which there's nothing wrong with that. Normally people just say like, are you going to grind it all up? Like, there's just a lot of misconceptions. Like, there are steaks that you can cut out of a hind quarter of a deer, any animal for that matter. But anyway, so loved watching her demonstration. That was one of my favorite parts. And then we also had breakfast again with Krista. She made, I think it was Aoudad sausage breakfast sandwiches with like a homemade gravy and prickly pear jam. Oh my gosh. So good.
And I'm going to say something. Like, a lot of people that I've heard, I've had Aoudad on multiple occasions. And granted, it's been in like sausage and ground. Yeah. But Aoudad is good. Mm-hmm. It's good. It's not, it is worth the work of butchering one and processing one and keeping the meat.
My stepdad always says that's trash.
A lot of people do. Yeah. A lot of people do. And I think it's kind of like the same thing with pronghorn. Like, people shoot it when it's hot and you don't process it well, mm-hmm. and it gets ruined. But side tangent, we'll talk about that soon, maybe when I shoot one. But
just putting that out in the universe.
Just putting that out in the universe, speaking to believe it.
It's really, honestly, any animal, and Chris Abigail will say this too. How did you prepare it? From when it was killed all the way, not just how did you take the piece of meat and cook it? Like, what was the stress level? What was the, like, did y'all have to chase it down? Did you have to track it? Like, that's one thing. And then you also have, like, was it gut shot? Did you have to rinse it? Like, there's all kinds of different things that can go into how the meat tastes once you cook it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and a lot of people, like, don't see this and they wonder why, like, there's so many things you have to go through, like with the USDA when they put cows and chickens and everything else to slaughter. Like, there's so many regulations on how things have to be prepared. And not to say that you need regulations in hunting, but you kind of have to take to that extreme of care of the meat if you want it to taste the best in the end. I
mean, you can easily ruin the best cut, whether it be the tenderloin or the backstrap, just by putting it on ice.
Yeah.
Or not even just ice. Just by exposing it to water.
Yeah.
At any point in the process, which you wouldn't think would be a big deal. It is. So anyway.
Stop soaking your meat in the ice chest.
Stop soaking your meat in the ice chest. I used to we were like, let's drain the gaminess out of it. Like,
that's not what you're doing.
You're draining every great thing out of it.
All the good stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, had the demonstration with Chris Abigail. Took a break. We went back out again pretty early because the sun was time change had already happened. Yeah. Sun was going down earlier. So time change hadn't happened yet, but the days were getting shorter. So we were going out about like 5. So anyway, now we're going out at like 3.
Yeah.
But in October, we're going out about 5 o'clock. Again, pretty much saw everything that was not on the shoot list. We saw 2 younger bucks, a couple of yearling does, and they kept looking off in the distance like something big was coming. Because at this point, he wanted a hog. He was like, I don't even care about a doe. I just want to shoot a hog. Yeah, he like really wanted a hog. And I don't blame him. Like, I mean, the hogs, they're usually pretty big for one. I always say the little ones are better, but I know we got a couple little ones on the other trip, so we'll talk about that. But yeah, at this point he was like, I just really want to shoot something. I really want a hog to come out. And we never once saw a hog. There's not even a chance of him running in quick or anything. There was just nothing. But anyway, so we watched the LSU game. Who were they playing? I can't remember. It was like there was a bunch of football games that were happening at the same time. And Texas was playing somebody. And so we were watching ESPN in the blind as we're waiting for something to come in. So it was a good time. But yeah, outside of that, went back that night. I think we had 2 other hunters that had 2 more does and had another delicious meal. I believe it was, I can't remember the actual animal that it was. Forgive me, Chris, I'm sorry. But it was noodles and like some of my favorite like Mongolian style like Asian noodles.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
Big favorite.
Yeah, I just can't remember what the meat was at this point.
Nilgai?
No, I think it was just venison, but I may just be completely doing that an injustice. But it was definitely something you wouldn't have expected like at camp.
Okay.
So none of these meals really were. Everything was very good. We have a tradition on Saturday nights where we go around the whole group and we talk about like what we're thankful for. It's usually different every time. Matt and Dylan kind of have, most of the hunt masters, they coordinate and they have a plan on, usually it's either about who you're thankful for, what you've learned, favorite part of the day, things like that. So we get to know each other a little bit more. And then I was pretty tired at that point. So I definitely called it an early night on Saturday. But this time I moved all my gear into the bed of the truck, which worked out a lot better.
Yeah.
A lot better. Had the thermocell set up for the bugs. If y'all have never used one of those, it's worth every freaking penny. I'll tell you that right now. And then it went from, like I said, the 90s during the day down to like 62 by the time I woke up. It was perfect.
Yeah.
It was great. And then, like, of course, in the bed of the truck, clear skies, all that cheesy stuff. But here in the hill country, because Marble Falls is like right down the road from our house, like by an hour, I think, from this place to the ranch. And it's very clear skies around here. Like a lot of like Wimberley, which isn't far from here, is I think a certified dark sky city or something like that. So a lot of the skylines here, I mean, it's just really, really dark at night and you can see pretty much every star in the sky. I could see the Milky Way. It was really cool. So definitely a neat experience there on this trip that was pretty unique. The next morning I was a chicken and slept in and let him take another mentor with him out to the blind because I was pooped, and the night before they asked me if I wanted to take the morning to help clean up, which I did. Yeah. So helped clean up the camp, having French toast that morning. Like I said, just crazy French toast. The main camping tent, as you can see in the video if you check it on YouTube, was really badass. Like our base camp tent was really cool. So that does take a lot to break down though. So we had a lot of us were cleaning up all of that. Just a little bit extra as far as getting camp cleaned up and ready to leave. Because on Sunday morning, we're pretty much trying to get everybody out of there as quickly as possible, unless there's a couple animals to clean, which I believe there was 1 or 2 that still need to be cleaned the next morning. So unfortunately, Adrian was not able to harvest an animal on this trip. So that means that he will be at the top of the list to come back on another mentored hunt.
Yeah.
But it happens, and he was in great spirits, and he understands that, like, it's not just about killing the animals. Like, the entire process, you learn so much about target acquisition, where to shoot the animal. So you're prepared, and you're ready to go. But if it doesn't happen, I mean, even the best of us, like Brandon just told you, like, our whitetail season hasn't been great. So, like, we have that talk about, like...
You're learning how to be a hunter.
You're hunting. You're getting, and it's, like, start out like this, and it just can get better from here, right? So... yeah, that was one of those trips that it's kind of a bummer when your hunter isn't able to harvest something, but he was a great sport about it, and I'm sure he'll be on the next one.
Yeah, I mean, and there was people on hunts after that of course, that may have to back out or something, and he can join one of those maybe if they can slide him in a spot. So they're always looking for people. I mean, like I said, stuff happens and people have to back out. So if you want to be a part of the Adult Learn to Hunt program, we'll link it in the description. You can go to the website and join. And get on the waiting list. Best way also to get on hunts is to show up at TWA events. And do stuff.
That is the best way.
Stewards of the Wild runs their hunts as well, so that's another avenue that you can try out. But joining one of the chapters throughout the state of Texas. So there's
come to their annual meetup that they have in the summer.
Yep.
The wildlife convention.
I know there's a lot of people about to have their Christmas parties for Stewards of the Wild, so you can check out all of their Instagrams and other socials, and the website for those Christmas party dates if you want to do that this holiday season. Yep. So yeah, and then so it was a good hunt, like most of the time. It was a great hunt.
There's usually
what was your favorite part of that hunt?
Chris Abigail. I'm serious. I'm obsessed with her.
Yeah.
We had her on the podcast a couple weeks after that to discuss, like, she's just a person who is unique in the space when it comes to her profession, and like her story and her background is so different and so interesting about her perspective on things and the ethical, emotional tie and like the importance and the respect that she has. I mean, I cannot say there was anything better on that trip. Yeah. Honestly. That was my favorite part. And like I said, I think they should have it on every single trip. Not that she can be in 2 places at once.
Yeah.
But
as much as they can.
Much as they can. And she has been. She's been volunteering on a lot of those hunts. I think she's been on 2 or 3 more since that weekend.
Cool. Sounds good. And then I guess we had a little gap there.
Mm-hmm.
We tried to do some hunting. And then
we sat.
other life stuff, other weekends, getting stuff ready for different things and work. And then I went to Menard, Texas, to the Rockin' G Ranch on that hunt that was run by Jim Witrinsick. That's what we're going to go with, Jim. If I'm saying it wrong, I'm sorry. You're going to have to say it again to me so I remember. But he was the hunt master on that hunt. This was a cool hunt for me because I knew it was going to be cold that weekend, and I knew things were going to be moving as they are. This was early November. So that first cold front that we kind of had, once again, left on Friday. We met in Junction. Yeah, in Junction. So as I was driving.
It was on the cold front. That's right.
So as I was driving, I left the house and I was packing my truck up that morning. And I looked at the forecast and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm throwing some warm-ups.
Yeah, because I tried to go hunt that weekend.
Jacket on and everything. I was loading the truck up, and I'm like, God dang, I'm freaking sweating. I'm going to go put some shorts on. So I went in the house, changed clothes, got on the road, had everything packed, ready to go, and I'm headed west. I'm headed down the road. I get past Llano, all that kind of stuff, and I start looking out ahead of me, and I just see this dark gray line of clouds. And I'm like, oh, there's that front. And I drove through it. It rained on me a little bit. When we got in the Junction, it rained a little bit. And then the temperature just dropped. I put my pants on in the parking lot at that McDonald's there because I had to put more, fill up the tank, do all that stuff before we get to the ranch, grab ice and drinks and stuff. And I was like standing there shivering as I was pumping fuel into my truck.
And you're never cold.
Yeah, and I was pretty cold. So I put my pants on. As I was filling up my tank, ran in the store and got jerky and some more Copenhagen and all the good stuff that you need to go on a hunting trip. And then we got lined up and waited for everybody to get there. And then we headed out to the ranch. And this is a cool ranch because, as Jim explained when we were there, like a lot of these places, they don't have the landowner there. Yeah. Most of the time. They're mostly gone or doing something else. But on this trip, the landowner was there, Kent. So he actually got to hang out with us, did some hunting with us too. He is a very, very passionate landowner, and he's doing a great job of managing his property there. So we slept in his shop. So we kind of camped out inside the shop, had the bedroll and the cot for the first time.
Yeah, we purchased the cot after my lesson.
After the spider deal.
Yeah.
So I got to use the cot first on this trip. And it was awesome. Had a bunch of people that I've talked to on Instagram, interacted with through like TWA, Adult Learn to Hunt program, but never really met in person. So Jeremy, he's followed us for a long time. And then we got to meet some other cool people on the hunt as well. So we had 4 mentees, a group of mentors again. I think there's 7 of us all together. So that's usually pretty standard for.
Yeah, because we have some people that volunteer and some people that actually mentor. That's why we kind of swap out every now and then on who's volunteering and who's mentoring.
So got there the first day, went to the range, which was conveniently right off the back of the shop that we were staying in. So got to shoot some guns, suppressed and unsuppressed, hopefully getting them all suppressed. Yeah. But sighted in, I got to tell this story about Sal. So Sal was the second guy up to shoot.
One of the mentees?
One of the mentees. And we had the two different targets set up. So one was kind of like at 50 yards and one was at 100 yards. So there were just old targets on the 50-yard one that were just up there. Mm-hmm. We were aiming at the 100 yards. But when Sal was standing there watching, he couldn't see the 100-yard target. So he gets down on the bench, gets the gun up, comfortable and everything. You know, he's shot before, so he wasn't real novice. But lets off the first shot, and we're looking at the target, and we're like, hey, man, you missed. And he's like, all right, well, we can see the shots from the first mentee from shooting on his target. And we're like, yeah, man, I think you missed. We'll rack another one, we'll try it again. And he's using Jeremy's gun because Jeremy brought him. So
yeah, part of it is the range day is either the mentor will bring a gun or the volunteers, the hunt masters. Most of the mentees aren't going to have a hunting rifle.
Yep.
And so when we first get there, we want to make sure that they can safely operate and accurately shoot.
Yeah, exactly.
Part. Yeah.
So he racks another one in there, he gets down, fires again. And he's like, man, I think you missed. At this time, Jim's looking at Jeremy like, hey, man, when's the last time you shot this rifle? Jeremy's like, I shot it last week, man. It's on. So we're like, man, we don't know what's going on. We're just going to say, change the whole target. We're going to aim at this target at the top left, try to hit that one. Cool. He shoots, and we're like, dude, you missed. You missed. Even Dylan's standing there, and he's like, there's a problem here. And it sounds like there's a hole there. I see a hole.
Because he's shooting at the 50-yard.
So then Jeremy leans over, and he's like, hey, man.
What are you looking at?
What target are you looking at? And he goes, I'm looking at this one right here. So we look at the 50-yard target, and there's a grouping there like you would never believe. But he was shooting at the wrong target the whole time. He was hitting it and putting it right where we told him. Just
accurate as hell.
The wrong target. So we finally got him on the 100-yard target. He lets a bullet go down range, and it's right where it needs to be. We're like, all right, cool. Funny. We don't need to waste any more ammo. You're funny. Good, man. So my mentee, Caden, he's a college student at Tarleton State, and he was hunting with me. He actually used my gun and got to shoot the Ruger American 300 Blackout, the Deer Slayer.
The OG.
That gun does not miss. It's not about the hunter. The gun doesn't miss. Just saying. But he was real excited to shoot my gun because, of course, I had my Cat ODB, so it was suppressed.
You were excited for him to shoot your gun.
I was excited for him to shoot my gun, too. And little known fact, he was the first person to shoot a deer with my gun suppressed. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty cool. But he shot my gun. Everything was, like I said, dead on. So we packed up, had dinner that night. That our chef that weekend was Miss Lena Early, who is also an awesome cook. That I'll tell you one thing, you're gonna have, unless you get stuck on a hunt with just Jim, and he'll say this himself, unless you get stuck on a hunt with just Jim, you're gonna be eating pretty good on these hunts, regardless of who is cooking.
Yeah. Well, that's part of it. And most of the recipes, if not all of them, are wild game.
Wild game.
Just to show you how to use your harvest. I mean, that's kind of the point.
Yeah. So we did our whole blind assignment and everything. Woke up the next morning real early, like at 5. And then we're out to the blind by 5:30. And Caden and I were kind of at the farthest end of the ranch. And in a pretty big blind, it was easy to find. It was a little wet because it rained that day before. So as we were walking down there, we kind of had to slop through it a little bit. But got to the blind, got everything set up. It was still dark outside. Found the feeder and knew which way. We had a protein feeder off to the right, and we had a corn feeder out in front of us. And then we were sitting there, and as the sun starts coming up, I started hearing turkeys. And when I say I started hearing turkeys,
not a turkey.
It wasn't like 1 or 2 or 3 roosted. I started hearing turkeys, like an abundance amount of turkeys, but I couldn't see them yet because it was still too dark. So the sun starts coming up even more, and I look off to the left and where the sun's coming up, and I could just see turkeys roosted in the top of this tree. Like, so many turkeys roosted in the top of this tree. And I was like, holy cow. But I could hear turkeys off to my right, off behind us. And as the sun started coming up. The texts were so
funny from you because you were like, I think we found the turkey roost. And it was like an excitement tone and like a fun tone. Like, oh, we found the turkey roost. There's lots of turkeys here. And then the next text I get, I don't think I've ever had this much hatred for turkeys as I do right now.
It turned real quick because, like I said, there was...
You'll have to look at the video. You'll have to go look.
I can't do it justice on this podcast.
You have to.
You have to go look at the video. But it is every bit of 100 turkeys. Every bit of 100 turkeys all around us.
There are more than that, too.
Just all around us. And when they came off the roost, they came like together, and it sounded like nothing I've ever heard in my life. Like just feathers and everywhere. They were walking around, fighting each other, fighting for corn. Like it was really cool to just see that many turkeys just walking around, interacting and everything. But as soon as the feeder went off, they straight to it and pretty much killed any thought of deer coming in. We had one smaller buck come in for a little while, but he got ran off by the turkeys. We had 2 little does show up, but they got run off by the turkeys as well. And it was just it was not a good spot to be in the fall. Now, if you were there in the spring, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But in the fall, it was not a good place to be. Of course, we were able to shoot turkeys.
But you no longer even believe in shooting turkeys in the fall.
We were able to shoot turkeys if we wanted to, but Caden was trying to hold out for a doe.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of shooting turkeys in the fall because I'm a turkey snob now.
Mm-hmm.
Self-appointed.
Officially.
Because I like shooting them in the spring when they gobble. If you want to shoot turkeys in the fall, you can do whatever you want to. It's legal. I'm just not shooting no turkeys in the fall. If Caden wanted to, we just shot one, but we were trying to hold out for a doe. So we left that spot, reported back to everybody that we found the turkey roost. We had one other hunter that got a doe, Kendall, which she was real cool. It was her first time hunting, and she had so much fun, like shooting the day before at the range that she was like, went from first time ever shooting a rifle to how hard is it to shoot 1,000 yards? That was like literally her progression, and she wants to go do that. So hopefully she'll get to shoot out to 1,000 yards one day. But she got a doe on her first morning, which was really, really cool to see. So congratulations to her. She was really, really proud of accomplishing that. But we hung out, had lunch. We did a little skills challenge, which was pretty fun the way Jim ran his. Did y'all do a skills challenge there?
Yeah, we did the day that we got there. So they did the range and the skills challenge.
At the same time. So we did the range day on Saturday. It was pretty cool because Jim set it up to where, say you were hunting and you go through the skill challenge where there's different things, different signs. We use like target decoys and stuff to set up different scenarios to explain stuff on how to handle certain situations that you're in. So the situation that the mentees were in this one was that you shot a hog and it ran off and you're trailing it. Mm-hmm. So you're going through different scenarios. You see a doe and a buck and all these different things and a dove up in a tree and like signifying everything. Will come into the end of it. There's another decoy that is in the same shape of a hog, but it's a bear.
Oh.
And of course you're in Texas and it's like half in the bush, and the way Jim kind of sets it up is like, you see your hog and it's wounded and it's there, and like, do you take a shot? Is it ethical? Like, is it a safe shot? All that kind of stuff. And then like everybody's like, yeah, shoot the hog. And then of course Jim picks it up and it's like, it's a bear. You're going to jail because it's a federal crime. They're protected in Texas.
Damn, Jim.
So he gotta lead you, set you up for failure in that instance. But it was a pretty cool, like little skills challenge that we went through.
I like it.
So we did that in the afternoon, kind of hung out for a little bit, watched a little football, and then we went back out to the blind for the afternoon hunt. And we switched blinds, so we're going to another part of the ranch where they've been seeing some more movement on does and things. And once we got in the blind, it was literally like 5 minutes that we were there, and we already had does coming in. So we were there was a couple, like 2 there, and then we were going to wait till the feeder to go off, of course, to see what else comes out. So feeder goes off, does all scatter like retards, and then they run back in. I guess I shouldn't say retard.
You probably shouldn't. Whatever.
Is what it is. The deer come back in, and there's so many deer there that we're literally having to go back and forth on which ones we're trying to take. And they're just moving in between each other, feeding, of course, and they just won't be still. We literally, okay, we're on this one. Oh, no. Switch to this one. Oh, no.
And they were fighting, too.
Yeah, and then they kind of fought and chased one off, and then they come back in. And then finally we get lined out on this doe that we're going to take. And Cade makes a great shot, puts her down, and she runs off for a little bit, kind of disappears behind some trees. And the coolest thing was, as he shot that doe, there's a couple deer that scattered, but most of them just kind of looked around and stood there. Because you know why? Because we were hunting suppressed. And it's so much better for the animals. Just saying, get your suppressor, silencer shot. But great shot by Caden. We waited a little while just to make sure she was good. And then we got out of the blind, walked up, and I mean, she didn't go 20 yards. She just went right behind the tree to where we couldn't see her. She was laying right there. Of course, for some reason, they all decide to fall in cactus. I don't know why. Maybe it's because there's cactus everywhere, but it seems like all the deer fell in just a mott of cactus. Mm-hmm. So we had to be real careful picking her up because she was covered. But took some pictures, got back to camp. He was pretty excited about, taking his doe on that hunt. And then also there's a lot more people in camp that got some animals down as well. A turkey, a couple more does. And then we had a great night, another awesome meal. We had nilgai rigatoni.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, a nilgai rigatoni. I'm pretty sure it's the nilgai that Lena shot or another mentee shot on a hunt. So that was pretty cool. She had a salad with avocado in it, and I ate it.
Oh, I'm so impressed.
I'm just saying that
you have been trying the salads.
Salad. I had a salad with avocado in it.
Mm-hmm. The avocado is the surprising part.
Yeah, so it was pretty good. Needless to say, if I'm gonna eat salad with avocado in it, but it was great night. We did a little karaoke. I did a little celebrating since a lot of the hunters got animals and drank some adult beverages, sang some karaoke by the fire. So that was pretty fun. I went to bed relatively early, but a few of them decided to stay out a little bit later.
Saturday night is a hit or miss when it comes to
specifically my hunter Caden, because I woke up the next morning ready to go.
Bright-eyed bushy tail
to go get in the blind to get him another doe or try to get him a turkey. Because after he got his doe down, he was like, I kind of want to shoot a turkey now. I'm like, all right, man. We'll go shoot a turkey. But Jim walks in. He's like, well, Brandon, I hate to tell you this. If you want to, you can go back and lay down because Caden's still passed out. But no, I didn't. Once I'm up, I'm up. So got to hang around camp with Jim and Kent. Get to talk about how he came to own that ranch and some things that he was doing on it and manage it and everything. So that was pretty cool. And then help clean up and get breakfast ready and get ready to skin a couple animals because we had some more hunters come in with some animals they shot out there. So got everything cleaned up and then got packed up, which was not hard to do. We didn't have to take down a tent or anything. And then that Sunday made the trip up to Azle for my cousin's wedding.
Oh, I forgot. That's right.
So that was a long ride. I think I left Menard about 11 and then drove to Azle for my cousin's wedding and then back home
in
I had to go to
separate
work
vehicles
on Monday. Yeah.
at night. And the amount of deer that we saw.
Dude, we saw a lot.
I mean, and it was like right before we got home too, they got worse.
Yeah, pretty much. But made it back from that trip. Like I said, it was an awesome hunt. Getting to hunt with Caden and Jim ran an awesome hunt. Dylan being there. Talked to him, like I said, on social and everything. We never really got to hunt with him that much. So getting to spend time with them and hunt was pretty cool. We get to do it again for sure. Cause
they do a great job. I mean, the behind the scenes logistics and everything, you just can't imagine what that's like, especially on such a, I guess, viable situation. Like hunting is, I grew up around guns and grown up around hunting, but like, I guess you have a fresh newbies and you have volunteers, right?
Yep.
Who are out there with them. And so, yeah, the amount of logistics and the trust they put in us as mentors and the way that they select their mentors and their mentees, I've always been very impressed with it. So,
yeah. And then turn around right after that, the next weekend.
Yep.
And Megan and I got to go on our first mentored hunt together.
Yay. Yeah.
Down in Mathis at the Mount Lucas Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
So this one was also run by,
Matt was there.
Matt was there, but he wasn't running this hunt. This hunt was run by Seth Hogan?
Hobbs.
I don't know why I say
Hogan. Like Seth Rogen. There's an actor, Seth Rogen. But it was Seth Hobbs.
But I was saying Seth Hogan for some reason. I said that to somebody the other day, too.
I don't know where you got that from.
I guess he kind of looks like Hulk Hogan, if you think about it.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Seth. You look like Hulk Hogan, apparently.
Seth Hobbs ran that hunt. He's also wonderful.
And he was a chef.
Cook.
Right.
Yeah. So we didn't get to this hunt early. We drove down after I got off work.
Yep.
So we got there
like 11.
Yeah, 11:15, something like that. So we were kind of late. We missed the range day part. Missed dinner. But got there in time enough to get a little nap and then wake up and go hunt the next morning.
I got to sleep in.
Yeah, you got to sleep in.
I was strictly a volunteer on this hunt.
Yeah, and I was a mentor. So I got to hunt with Greg, which I met him. He was still up when we got there.
Yep.
So I got to meet him there before the next morning. And then woke up again early, went out to the blind.
Oh, it was so gorgeous that morning, too.
It was, and it was pretty cool, but it got hot real quick after that.
And this it's in Mathis, so it's near the coast, but it was also on the lake, and so there was quite a bit of like temperature shift, and humidity and like different elements, I guess, to the weather.
So really, we were right across the lake from Leo at DEA Ranch.
Yep.
Shot him a text while we were there. So went out first morning. Found the blind real easy because Seth actually.
We have the Onyx maps too. We haven't even talked about how awesome that is.
Yeah, being able to share.
They set up the blinds.
Yeah, set up all the blind and everything before the week starts. Part of that logistics part that we're talking about. So they make an Onyx map before the hunt, so they're able to share it, so you know where all the blinds are, how to get back to the house, all that kind of stuff. So found the blind pretty easy because Seth actually dropped us off. We sat there for a little while. We had a pretty nice buck. And two little fawns come out, which was a little different than I've seen before. Mostly if you see two little fawns,
they're
go around or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But these two little fawns, I guess, were hanging out in daddy daycare or something. But they were hanging out with this buck as he was coming into the feeder. We saw some massive raccoons, some of the biggest raccoons
I've ever
seen.
Fat ass raccoons.
But they'd have made a good hat for sure. You could have made like a hat and a neck piece.
It could have been one of those floppy ear.
Floppy ear things for sure.
Yeah.
Come in early, and then we had some cows come in and kind of ruin everything
out.
Yeah. So they didn't come up to the feeder, but they were just moving around, and the deer really didn't like it. Like I said, there was just those couple bucks, and after they got their little cornfield, they kind of ran off. So that first morning was pretty slow. But we came back into camp. There were some other hunters. They got some animals. So, of course, went to demonstrating how to clean and gut and everything. Yeah, Matt's demonstration, which was pretty good.
I learned something.
Cut.
Yeah. So the sternum cut, which I can't really describe this on the podcast, but basically it's like starting at the sternum going down first, cutting the head off, and then going up
to gut.
Which
was something new.
Makes sense. Everybody does it differently. There's nothing wrong. That's what I've learned too. Every mentor has a different way. Like you have a different way than I do, and like I'm still not an expert at skinning deer because it's one of the hardest things. The gutting and the quartering, fine. Skinning is also one of the things like is unique to every person.
Yeah, you can do it different ways. Like they say, there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to skin a deer too.
Right.
So we got to look at his way of doing that, which I'm gonna try and add that too because it made gutting a whole lot easier and getting everything out.
The sternum's already broken.
Yeah, so it was a good little tip that we picked up on that trip. Went and ate lunch, had some of the best camp tacos.
Pork tacos, wild pork tacos.
It was so good.
Oh my goodness.
Cooked on like a little...
What was that?
Like a little disc on an open flame.
It was a
cool.
custom...
Like
we have a video. It's in the video.
Yeah.
But it was a really cool custom, like, multi-level...
pan?
I don't know what to even, how to even describe it. Yeah.
Or a wok. Kind of like a wok.
Kind of like a wok, but... structured
Not really,
different.
Yeah. You'll see it in the video and check it out. But yeah, had some awesome tacos, hung out, talked about football.
Watched football.
Yeah. And then we went out.
Oh, we went and looked for arrows too.
Oh yeah, they went and looked for arrowheads. Cool. Yeah. And they found some too.
There was lots of arrowheads.
Apparently on this place there's a lot of arrowheads.
Well, there's flint everywhere.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. You could find a piece of flint. And we're on the lake. So it was like, if the water's low, there's all kinds of stuff you can find.
Yeah, it's like I said, Mount Lucas Ranch, pretty cool place, just
neat.
where it is. Obviously, it used to be a river too, so you can find a lot of settlement, like stuff where settlements were and everything. They've found a lot of stuff out there. Mm-hmm. Went out for the afternoon hunt to a different blind this time. Most of the time, you do kind of change blinds, unless I guess you really want to stay at the same one. So this one was a tower blind, so you had to climb up a ladder to get up there. So we get dropped off. There's actually a deer out in the field while we're there and watches us. Then it runs off in the brush. It kind of hangs out. So Greg goes up this ladder into the blind, and it's a little wobbly. But I trust it. He goes up, gets settled. I get about a quarter way up the ladder, and it's shaking where the blind is sitting on. The blind's sitting on.
Well, mind you, you're also not just your backpack and a gun like you have.
Yeah, so the gun's already up there with Greg. He's not borrowing my gun this time. He's shooting a .243 that he got from Seth. But I'm also carrying a camera.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going up this ladder, and it kind of shakes the stand that the blind is on. And it's made out of pipe. Of course, it's rusted in some spots or whatever, so there's some holes in it. And I see 2 wasps fly to this hole. And I thought my life was over. I don't like stinging insects.
So, y'all, you want to see him be a complete baby? You've gotten better with honeybees.
I don't like them.
But everything
it's not
else
about being a baby. It's just I don't
Nobody does.
I like the animals.
You are so
They're
funny.
cool, but I don't like being stung because for some reason it just lingers for far too long. I've seen people get stung by bees and wasps, and like 30 to 45 minutes later they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm good. It's just a little mark there." Like, no, when I get stung, it's gonna swell up. Yeah. It's gonna be a whelp. Like it's just a whole ordeal that nobody wants to go through. So I try to stay far away from them as possible, give them their space, let them go about their business. But I for sure thought I was about to get stung in the face, but I didn't. I climbed up as quickly as possible and just said, "Don't even worry about it. We'll deal with getting down when we got to deal with getting down."
Get there when we get there.
So get set up in the blind. Greg's ready to go. He really wants to get a doe, which we're waiting. So about 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe into sitting there, the deer that was in the field before comes back out. We decide we're going to take the shot. Moves around a little bit. He's not nervous. Greg said he performed well at the range day with the rifle, so he was pretty comfortable with it. Deer gives him the shot. He takes it, runs a little bit, falls over.
I mean, a little bit. Like,
not even.
Like 10 yards.
It was an awesome shot he put on the deer. We're celebrating in the blind. The feeder hasn't even gone off yet. We still got time to
They're
wait.
texting the group like, we're going for another one.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. We were pretty excited. I was glad he got to get a deer as quickly as we did. So we had some more deer come in, but then kind of inched their way out, but they didn't really come out when the feeder went off. They were just kind of hanging out in the brush. And then all of a sudden we hear this horn. And I've heard this horn before, but Greg's never heard this horn before. It is the horn that's calling the cows to the feed. And when I tell you about 60 head of cows ran by our blind and blew out all the deer that were hanging out in the brush, that's exactly what happened. So
y'all were in the way.
It kind of ruined that hunt. We were in the way of the cows getting to where they needed to go. So they blew out some deer. There was probably about 3 or 4 more does in the brush and maybe a buck or two. So we saw them like running through, headed the opposite way of the cows. So we thought hopefully, maybe they'll come back, but they wound up not coming back. So after that, we kind of texted Seth to come pick us up. We got the deer loaded up, get ready to go back, and had another one of the hunters make a shot on a deer, but they had needed help tracking, so went and spent some time doing that. We wound up deciding that it was a clean miss. There was no blood, there was no sign there. But which I will say really came in handy is having the camera and being able to review the shots that the hunters, even when I was at the Rock and G Ranch, being able to see Caden's shot and know, hey, this is a good shot. Being able to see Greg's shot and know, hey, this is a good shot, even though we can see him fall over within distance. But having some sort of camera, even if it's like a little handy cam, Sony or something with zoom that you can film and know where your shots are going. And that goes for rifles and for archery too.
Definitely for archery. I learned that lesson with my archery hunt.
Yeah, it's real. It comes in handy being able to film and get that stuff on video so you can go back and review it and not just rely on what you saw in the moment, because it gets real exciting real fast.
Yeah, what you saw usually is influenced by what you're feeling.
Yeah, exactly. So went back to camp. We had some other hunters, like once again, get some animals. Had a big old hog there.
Oh yeah, you did.
One of the hunters got. And they'd had a couple more deer and stuff too. So that was a good afternoon.
There's the 2 little hogs too.
Oh yeah, the 2 little hogs with one shot.
Perfect.
yeah, 2 hogs with one shot. That was pretty cool.
Like I said earlier, the hogs, the smaller they are, which sounds awful, but like the little baby piggies are perfect for cooking. The bigger they get, the nastier they get. And they're still, you can still grind them up, use them for sausage or supplement your beef. Supplement your venison and all that, but like those little bitty ones, just skin them and roast them whole, and
so good,
so tender.
But yeah, got everything cleaned up. Had an awesome homemade pizza dinner that night with
Seth got in over his head, but it turned out so good.
Yeah, it turned out so good. Had awesome pizza.
Cooking and homemade pizza for 12 people.
Excuse me, the appetizers with trout?
Oh yeah, it was.
Was it salmon or was it trout?
It was trout. It looked like salmon though.
Yeah,
steelhead trout.
Steelhead trout on a little
with
crack.
Caper, so cream cheese, caper, steelhead trout, dill, and there was some sort of jam. I can't remember what the jam was now. As like a little appetizer
on a cracker. Yeah, it was pretty
Seth's
good.
brother was helping with that. Yep. Yeah, Ben Humps.
So yeah, had a great, awesome dinner. Once again, did what we were thankful for.
Yeah,
and got to talk to each other and learn a little bit more about everybody. So that was fun. And then woke up the next morning for the last hunt. Greg and I went out right off the jump. We went to a different blind. Right off the jump, we had 2 does come in. Greg was not wasting time.
He was on that trigger quick.
He was on it. He asked me if we were good to go on shooting time, and we were good to go. I think he got a little bit too excited, which can happen, and he wound up shooting at a doe, but he missed low. We didn't find any blood or anything. Once again, we got to go back to the camera and review it, and we could see the dirt hit without the doe moving or anything like that, or seeing the hit on the doe before.
Well, it's so deceptive sometimes because they'll still buck.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they'll still buck, they'll still duck, they'll still do something as a reaction to the shot, especially when they buck and they weren't
hit
because they'll always, not always, but in most situations, a deer will buck a mule kick, right? A buck, I don't know, you know what I mean?
Same thing.
Yeah. So when she did.
Yep.
And so then you don't want to assume you didn't hit her, but the only way you can determine that is
we went down and checked for blood, and we walked and everything. We didn't find anything. So came up short on that end, but he did get to go home with some meat from the deer the day before. So good overall hunt. We had some more hunters come in with some deer that next morning. So, I mean, most of the time, I think we did have...
We had them already skinned and gutted.
Yeah.
But we were
quartering them up that next morning. Because they had luckily on that ranch, they had a walk-in freezer. So that's one of the luxuries that you get to have. We had one at the Rock and G Ranch, too.
Yeah, we did not have that.
At the first one, yeah. So having the walk-in cooler helped. So we quartered up the animals and got everything packed up and cleaned up. And then we headed north again.
Yeah.
So it's been a great season. With the Adult Learn Hunt program, getting to mentor on these hunts and get to hang out with all these different cool people and, spend time outdoors. I know they got some spring hunts and stuff coming up, so hopefully, we can fill in where we can on those, but
you can, if you want.
You can, for a little while. Maybe. Maybe not.
I don't know, babe.
I'll get to fill it out. I know for sure Jim told me about a turkey hunt in the spring. So, might get to do that one. But if they go chase some exotics or something else and need some help, maybe I'll go help them out with that too. So, like I said before, if you want to join in on the program, if you want to volunteer for the program, because we still need volunteers, and you want to share your knowledge that you have gained out hunting in the woods with other people, which is a good thing to do, you can sign up to be a mentor or sign up to be a mentee if you want to gain some of that knowledge as well. So it's a great program to be a part of. It's a great program to promote. And I think other people should too take advantage of the things that are out there, and then also take advantage of being able to spend time with other people and pass on the knowledge that you've gained in your time. So be sure to check out Texas Wildlife Association's website. I know they'll have their convention coming up next summer. Join TWA. There's great benefits, not only the Adult Learn to Hunt program, but others as well. Stewards of the Wild, they have their program as well. So reach out to those. Like I said, we'll link them in the description
below. And if you forget all of that, just send us a message. And we'll point you in the right direction.
We're there too. Send us a message comment on the podcast. Send us a DM on Instagram, YouTube, on any of the videos after you go watch them. Subscribe. But yeah, we're here to pass on the knowledge that we have, and then hopefully gain some more so that we can then turn around to pass it on to everybody else. So
it's so important.
Definitely.
We like to hammer that home too, because there's so much silence around this industry and the experiences, right? And when it comes to just general media.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is word of mouth. A lot of it is experience. A lot of it is like providing that opportunity for these people. And TWA just does a great job of doing that, not only for the youth, but now for the adults for the last, I think it's been 8 years now. Yep.
And if you don't think this is a good thing, it should be passed on, just see what was accomplished in the election in Colorado. The Prop 127 did not pass, so we still have the right to hunt mountain lions with hounds in Colorado. Bad news is they're already starting to try to do the same thing in Arizona. So as a part of this teaching people how to hunt, it's also teaching people how to advocate and be a voice for other people in other states, across the country, and obviously across the world too. And being able to get together when it's needed and stand for hunting like we all should.
Stand for hunting and conservation. Hunting for conservation,
exactly.
Right? Not just hunting. There's lots of science behind how impactful hunting is when it comes to conservation efforts for many wildlife species.
Yep. And like you said, we shared a lot of blood origin stuff that they had. We've shared a lot of CRWMs, Colorado's for wildlife management, responsible wildlife management. And we're going to continue to share that stuff. So if you're ever looking for information to pass on to other people, like I said, reach out to us, follow the page. We'll be posting about it and talking about it here on the podcast. So that's this episode, guys. We're going to have some more coming up here pretty soon. We'll be dropping some podcasts towards the end of the year. And thanks for listening. Check out the videos on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. Hey, if you got somebody that you want to hear on the podcast or you think that we should have as a guest, send them over to us.
If you want to be on our podcast?
Yeah, if you got some cool stories from this deer hunting season or any hunting season you want to talk about, shoot us a message. We'd love to schedule an episode and get it recorded. So thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks, y'all.
Peace.